Welcome to Kitchen Table Conversations, a series of short and shareable conversation starters for those of us who have or love and support people with a complicated and beautiful brain. Here's your host, Angela Geddes.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Kitchen Table Conversations. I hope your week is going well so far. Mine is flying by, and I'm actually getting really busy. Our team is growing, which we're really happy about, but I'm actually kind of in the stage right now where I'm debating on what I can continue with and what makes the most sense for me. And I'm really kind of wondering about how much longer this podcast is going to go on. I do feel like it's meaningful, and I think it's so important that we bring conversations that are really meaningful, sometimes controversial, sometimes puzzling, sometimes confusing, back home to our kitchen tables. I really do. But I'm just, again, life is very busy, and even I'm getting a little bit tired of talking about prenatal exposures and prenatal health and the focus on diagnostic clarity and all of that stuff. I think it's so important, and I believe in it, and I will continue to do whatever I possibly can to reduce both the incidences of prenatal substance exposures and the impact that results from prenatal substance exposures. This will continue to be my passion and my focus for much of my work. But I'm just starting to think that maybe we need to focus more on really meeting people where they're at and not focusing so much on what's caused the problem. So I have a couple of resources, one of them that I developed with Dr. Claire Mitchell. And it's a practical approach to complex neurodevelopmental conditions of all kinds, which include ADHD, which include autism spectrum disorder, which includes some learning disabilities, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and certainly FASD. But again, what I've always been saying is that it really doesn't matter what has caused the problem. The bottom line is we have to realize there is a problem. So that resource is for everyone. And I've created another resource that's called Not Your Typical Parenting Strategies. Again, to help parents and people who love and support individuals with complicated mental health or social or emotional or learning difficulties, how to parent or provide care or teaching instruction slightly differently so that we actually can meet people where they're at and improve the outcomes. I think so many of us are just kind of programmed to believe that kids who are misbehaving are doing so because they're making poor choices or because the parents aren't doing their job. And I hear it all the time. I've got a number of people in my circles that are working within the school system, and it's staggering the number of individual education plans that are out there. And they need to be, and we do need to continue to build an inclusive service delivery system and an inclusive communities. However, how can we expect teachers in and of themselves to read, especially supply teachers? I'm hearing this all the time, but how are they supposed to read 10 different IEPs and be prepared to operationalize them in a classroom full of 20, 25 kids, and they're there for the day or two? So without extra supports, without foundational changes, some of these things are just completely out of reach, as are our assessment services. Mental health services are out of reach right now for many people. The wait lists are over a year long. Some agencies locally here are not accepting referrals at all due to staffing shortages and that kind of thing. So we are in a crisis. I don't think that's news to any of us. And we do need to search for and achieve diagnostic clarity. I'm here to say absolutely that needs to happen. But in the interim and in the absence of clear diagnosis, we still can be very helpful. So I'm going to leave it at that and just ask that you check out my website. We are offering training specifically for social workers and frontline clinicians in order to help build system capacity and just to augment the skills and the knowledge that we already have. I've been saying for many years too that we do not have to be specialists in order to acknowledge that there's something brain-based going on. When somebody's coming into your office trying really hard to make appointments and to regulate their emotions and to plan and organize their lives in order to be more successful in school, and they're still experiencing challenge after challenge after challenge, then we need to look at doing things differently without a doubt and stop blaming people for not doing it right. So check out my website. The booklet that I've just created will be on there very shortly, but there's a number of resources and access to training. And again, the book that I've written to help uncover some of the more hidden and unique nuances that are often found with people who do have complex neurodevelopmental disorders, in addition to mental health conditions. And I, as much as I say I'm tired of kind of hearing about prenatal exposures and alcohol and that kind of thing, we can't get complacent around this. More people are drinking now during their pregnancy than they were 10 years ago, which is alarming. None of us feel like our drinking habits are alarming unless we are really struggling with addiction. But those early weeks of pregnancies do matter. So I will continue to plug that. And we do need to continue to bring that conversation home. But we also, in terms of prevention for the next generations, that's very, very clear. But for the generations that are here right now that are struggling with the effects of a variety of developmental traumas or substance use during pregnancy, it really doesn't matter. What does matter is that we recognize individuals as having neurodevelopmental disorders rather than willful misbehavior, defiance, and blaming parents for not doing enough. So with that, again, please check out my website. There's a really cool YouTube video that gives a short little synopsis of the social work training. There's some feedback there from people who have received my training and have read my book that warm my heart and make me realize that what I'm doing is really, really important and in fact game-changing for people both personally and professionally. So I'm going to continue to do this work, but I'm really thinking that the podcasts are probably going to be more every other week or once a month from now on. So thanks so much for your support, and when things settle down and we, hire more staff and the team continues to build, I'll have more time for this, for the capacity building initiatives. But in the meantime, families are in urgent need of FASD and trauma-informed clinicians, and I'm very honored to do that work. With many thanks, Angela.